Let's forget about biology as a stuffy school subject for a minute. Instead, I want you to think of it as the official rule book for planet Earth. This is a user's guide written over, about 4 billion years, and it governs every single living thing.
Right, so every organism, from the tiniest microbe to the biggest blue whale, has to play by these ancient rules. But here's the twist. In just the last few moments of Earth's long history, one species, just one, has started scribbling in the margins, crossing things out and completely changing the game. And that player, well, that's us.
So, to understand the rules we're rewriting, we have to start with the biggest one of all. We've got to look at the fundamental system of energy that powers everything, the entire planet. At the heart of it all is the food web. Now, it looks like a super complicated tangle, right? But really, it's all about one simple idea: follow the energy. Every single interaction, whether it's a plant soaking up sunlight or a lion chasing a gazelle, is just energy moving from one place to another. Let's break it down. Here's a super simple chain. It all starts with the sun, right? That solar energy gets captured by what we call producers, like algae. Then, the energy moves up the chain. Little krill munch on the algae. A fish eats the krill, and then a seal comes along and snacks on the fish. It's a straightforward flow of power. But there's a catch. And this is one of the most important rules in the entire game. Only about 10% of the energy from one level actually makes it to the next. The other 90%, it gets used for, living, moving, breathing, keeping warm, or it's just lost as heat. This is exactly why the planet is packed with plants, but has very few top predators. There's just not enough energy at the top to support huge numbers of them. Okay, so that's the big picture. Now, let's zoom way in. Let's look at the rulebook for just a single organism. How does any individual player manage to survive in this huge, competitive game? Well, the answer is adaptation. A polar bear is just a masterclass in adaptation. Seriously. It's not just a bear that happens to be white. That fur is camouflage, sure, but get this, the hairs are also hollow. They funnel heat down to its black skin for maximum absorption. It's got a super thick layer of fat for insulation, and it even has this genius heat exchange system in its legs to keep its paws from turning into popsicles. Every single feature is a perfect solution to a very specific problem. And adaptations are always specific to the environment. I mean, just look at these two plants facing completely opposite problems. The water lily, it lives in the water, so it has these big air pockets to help it float, and its roots are tiny because, well, water is everywhere. Then you've got the cactus, built for the desert. It's got super deep roots to hunt for water, a thick stem to store it, and sharp spines instead of leaves to stop that precious water from escaping. Two plants, two totally different survival guides. Okay, so how do these incredible adaptations even happen? Where do they come from? To answer that, we have to zoom in one level deeper, right down to the genetic code itself and the engine that drives all of life's amazing variety. And here it is. The core mechanism is natural selection. It sounds complex, but it's really just a simple four-step process. First, you need variation, little genetic differences within any group. Second, the environment applies pressure, making survival tough. Third, some of those random variations just happen to give certain individuals an edge. And fourth, and this is the key, the survivors get to pass on their winning genes. You do that for millions of years, and you get organisms that are perfectly tuned to their world. So you might be asking, where does that initial variation even come from? Well, the source material is very clear about this. It comes from mutations. These are just spontaneous, random changes in the genetic code. Now, most of them do nothing, and some can be bad, but every once in a while, a mutation creates a new trait that gives its owner a crucial advantage. For billions of years, the environment, predators, climate, you name it, was the only thing doing this selecting. But then a new selector showed up. Us, humans. See, in natural selection, the goal is just survival. But in artificial selection, which is basically selective breeding, the goal is whatever we want it to be. Bigger apples, fluffier dogs, you name it. We've basically been hijacking the evolutionary process for our own benefit. And that brings us to the biggest plot twist in the 4 billion year history of this planet. Humanity didn't just learn to play the game of life. We started rewriting the entire rulebook for every other species on Earth. So for most of human history, our population was pretty stable. And then, just a few hundred years ago, just exploded. This incredible growth spurt put a kind of pressure on the planet's resources that had never been seen before, creating a whole new set of rules for survival.
So impact number one, we needed more space. To grow food for billions of people, we started clearing massive areas of land. This deforestation, say for something like palm oil, doesn't just knock down trees, it completely erases the homes that thousands of other species need to exist.
Impact number 2, pollution. All of our industries started pumping out new, toxic chemicals into the environment. There was this tragic, real-world case in Minamata Bay, Japan, where industrial mercury was dumped into the water. It worked its way up the food chain, becoming more and more concentrated, until it caused severe brain damage and death in the people who ate the local fish. And impact number 3, overfishing. Out in the oceans, our technology got a little too good. We started catching fish, like the famous North Sea cod, way faster than they could possibly reproduce. This doesn't just crash the cod population, it rips a major player out of the marine food web, and the ripple effects can tear the whole ecosystem apart. So, here we are. We have become the single most powerful force of evolution on the planet. The big question now is, what do we do with that power? Are we just a wrecking ball, or can we actually choose to write a better next chapter for life on Earth?
Think about it. The rules we've been breaking were set in stone over billions of years. Fixing this isn't going to be easy, but it has to start with a choice, a conscious decision about how we move forward from here.
And the guiding idea for this next chapter has a name. It's called sustainable development. The bottom line is, it's about figuring out a smarter way to live. How do we meet our needs today without totally wrecking the planet for the generations that come after us?
And the good news is we already have a toolbox full of strategies. We can protect species with international agreements. We can set aside land for national parks to conserve habitats. We can use things like fishing quotas to manage our resources better. We can even create genetic backups in massive seed banks, literally saving life's diversity for the future. We know what to do.
When you really think about it, life on Earth is incredibly tough. It has survived ice ages, massive asteroid impacts. It will find a way to adapt to us. So the real urgent question this whole rulebook leaves us with is this. Can we, the species that broke all the rules, finally learn to adapt our own behavior to live by the rules of the only planet we call home?